What's a secret you'll never tell your spouse or SO? Story 1. That I pooped in the ocean while snorkeling off of Hawaii. And that was the reason for all the beautiful fish swarming around us all of a sudden. Bon appetit, dear fish. Yes, indeed, it was magical. Story 2. Early on in our relationship, I made breakfast for my then girlfriend and her kids using some pancake mix she had in the pantry. After making the pancakes and serving to them, I went to mix up a little more to make mine, and I realized there were some maggots in the dry mix. They were pretty much done eating and telling me how good they were. I decided that ignorance was better than telling them, taking that one to my grave. Story 3. I saw on the call display that the jewelry store was calling. I'll let him answer it. He immediately left to run an errand and came home and took me out skating, where he romantically proposed on a frozen pond under a floodlight on a February evening. We'll be married 20 years this year. I can't tell him I knew the whole time. I just can't. ETA. We had gone a few weeks before to pick the ring out, and we had talked in depth about getting engaged. It wasn't a complete surprise, but he did want his proposal to be a surprise, and it really was special, even though I knew. Story 4. One time I thought I locked my keys in the car. They were in my pocket. Yeah. I figured out halfway through, and by then I decided to die with this secret. Sometimes I detach the ignition key off my huge keychain to make it easier, and I peeked through my car, saw the keychain, and didn't even check my pockets and just assumed I left all my keys in the locked car. Stupid. We had to walk 2 miles to her friend's job up a hill in super cold, windy as dark conditions, in like flip-flops, and definitely not suitable clothing. And then we got a super awkward drive to her house from her friend. Then we had to drive 30 minutes to my house, get my keys, go back, and give the other dude some gas money. It took us like 2 hours, and we were both exhausted and wanting to go home at the start of it. And then I had of course to drive back and drop her off, and then get gas, and then go home. Lol. Story 5. One time I left my younger daughter, middle child, in a hot car and forgot she was there. My wife and my oldest daughter had gotten out and went into the theater, where the oldest daughter had her dance recital. I parked the car about 100 feet away, and for some reason, maybe because my wife and daughter got out, my stupid brain just decided to go into kid-free mode. To say I panicked 10 minutes later when I remembered would be an understatement. I was mid-conversation with someone, and when I remembered her I just turned and ran. No explanation. I sprinted to the car, but knowing it was only 10 minutes I knew it would be okay. There she was, a little sweaty, but just sitting there and looking around. Smiled when she saw me. This memory haunts me. I frequently lose sleep, or have to pull my mind off it. The thought of what would have happened and how easy it was to forget her will never leave me. Always double check for your kids, folks, even if you think you're good, or have a great memory. Story 6. That sometimes I stay 10 to 15 minutes in the car before coming up the house. Not ashamed of it or something, but I like the me time to be private and not judged. Addendum. It's mostly so that the stress from outside I won't bring it to our home. Not good bringing negative energy/emotions when facing your kid at home. Story 7. This woman and I worked together for about 4 months before we told each other that we had mutual feeling for each other. On our 3rd date I went back to her apartment. She asked me to stay the night. Very little actually happened as we wanted to take it slow. In the middle of the night she rips this loud fart. I'm a very light sleeper. We've been together/married for 17 years now, and she still farts in her sleep, but I will never tell her. Story 8. I knew you were going to propose. You left an email up on the computer where you sent a ring to a friend asking her if I will like it. I immediately closed the email and went on about my day. We went on the 2-week-long trip to Hawaii. One of the days you told me to dress up, and I wore this cute white summer dress. I still remember the way you looked at me. You looked at peace. We drove up the coast to the beach your friend recommended. As soon as we pull in it dawns on you that this isn't a private beach. It's pure madness. People everywhere. I saw the look of panic on your face. I squeezed your arm and said let's keep driving. We grabbed dinner at a mom and pop place and found the most beautiful secluded beach after. That's where you proposed, and it was perfect. Story 9. My mother-in-law came to visit us, and she and my wife were home when I arrived home from work. Apparently her mother was not feeling well because she was taking her temperature. When I looked in the medicine cabinet I realized that the oral thermometer was still in the cupboard and the anal thermometer for my son was missing. They looked very similar, and I suggested to my wife that we needed to merge one so no mishaps would ever occur. My wife told me that I was being ridiculous, so I didn't, because I know the difference between the two. But oh well. Story 10. I had his mom removed from my room during labor. We don't have a great relationship and she showed up without asking. Overnight bag and all. Said she was staying the night with me in the room. I had been in labor about 20 hours at this point. The nurse mentioned I looked unsatisfied about it when everyone stepped out. She said I'll get it taken care of if you want and I agreed. She made up a lie about how after 10 PM they don't allow visitors in the room. And it was best, so my body can be relaxed, to not have company. It worked. She stayed in the lobby all night. Story 11. I knocked the TV off the IKEA Kallax shelf. I was walking quickly with the laundry basket half on my hip and knocked into the shelf. TV came tumbling down and landed upside down on some shoes. I guess the shoes cushioned the fall because the TV works perfectly. My husband has told me 1,000 times to slow down so I won't bump into things, which I do often. I will never tell him that the TV fell from 5 feet and it was totally my fault. I also accidentally popped a leg off of my mother-in-law's antique Queen and style vanity / dressing table. It has 7 other legs and I wedged it back in place. No one knows or ever will. Story 12. How depressed I really am. He's so kind and supportive, but I don't want to let him know how dark and sad I really feel most days. He'd be so sad for me to know how many hours he spent next to me not knowing I'm holding back tears. I didn't realize how much I'm asked until recently when I was taking an Uber home from a really intense and exhausting therapy session. The Uber driver made a comment about how much energy I had and how upbeat I was. I was like, holy shit, I'm exhausted and really feeling down right now, but I'm so used to putting on a happy face I don't even realize I'm doing it. Story 13. Don't have a spouse or SO as I'm single and have been for 18 years. The reason is I found my fiance dead in bed and have blamed myself all these years. I fell asleep on the couch and woke up the following morning, made her a cup of tea before checking on our son who was 4 days away from his first birthday. Then I went in our room to find a sight that has haunted me ever since. At first I told myself I wanted to concentrate on raising our son. Then it just became the norm. I would tell people that I'm happy being single, but the truth is I keep imagining going through that again and just prevent anyone getting close. I let my guard down a few years back and started a brief relationship with a colleague which she initiated and seemed keen only for her to cheat and lie to me, sending me back to square one again. I tell family and friends I'm happy, but the truth is I struggle some days. Our son is 19 now and I'm dreading the day he moves out. I hate coming home to an empty house, but the prospect of getting close to someone again and losing them scares me more. Story 14. I cheated on my ex. She was abusive to me, insulted me, screamed at me, scratched me, hit me, threw shit at me, but I felt stuck. I reached out to a female friend of mine after an especially heavy argument, where she threw an insulated bottle into my face, and she consoled me. One thing led to another, and we're intimate. After that I felt dirty, but it also opened my eyes. It felt like the ties that kept me with my abusive ex were cut. I was able to break up with her, and now found a girlfriend I wouldn't even think of cheating on. I also told that friend of mine about it, and how I wouldn't want to have that happen again. To which she said she felt like I needed that to realize that there are others out there that'll give me the respect I deserve. She was right, and she's happy that I finally found her. Story 15. The full story of past traumas. It would break his heart if he knew what's happened to me in the past. It would spark violence and vengeance in him, poison him inside the way it poisons me. I fell in love with him for the bright light and gentle soul that he is, so I can't justify showering him with that darkness. He still heals me in his own ways, but I don't think I'll ever be able to tell him everything. Sometimes the most selfless thing you can do is gulp your pain, so that others avoid suffering the taste. Story 16. I tend to just sit in my car for many hours at a time. Last week, I used an entire half a tank of gas just by idling for hours at a time. My girlfriend knows this, but what she doesn't know is why I do it. I have severe PTSD from seeing horrific deaths, being abused in group homes, being abused in mental hospitals, and being made fun of my entire life for having mental health issues. The only way I can handle it without going absolutely insane is by sitting in my car, listening to music and relaxing. Sounds weird, right? Well, my car isn't just any car. I got it from my aunt, and she was the one who took care of me as a kid when my dad was absent, which was every day. She took me for drives every week in that car to get me out of the house and to get ice cream with her and my cousin. This car also has memories of me and my grandpa working on it together. Since it's my first car and I wanted to modify it a bit along with repairing some stuff on it, that car holds so many special memories and it all comes flooding back when I sit in there. So I feel a whole lot better when I come inside my house or when I call my girlfriend. It's a coping mechanism, but I don't want to tell my girl because I don't want her to worry about me. Story 17. That I never have had a legitimate orgasm with and or due to another person. I'm 100% capable of achieving orgasm by myself. I even came close once when using toys with my but something holds me back. If I never do have a legitimate orgasm during Shreks, I wouldn't be mad. I still crave and enjoy Shreks a lot, but I believe that if I were to admit this to my SO, it would hurt them. Story 18. That for my 40th birthday I was pretty let down. I planned a nice family trip for her 40th, and we had a separate celebration with her family and friends. I told her that she didn't have to do anything for me because she's forgetful type. I don't hold it against her. I love her, of course. I said it just to kinda cushion the fall if she didn't plan anything. The day came and went, and it was a quiet home celebration. I don't ask for much, and even this, I've let it slide. Honestly, over time I don't even care about it anymore. But if I had to be honest, it was a letdown at the time. Story 19. I'm currently married to 2 people. I got married in preschool and in 8th grade. I have both rings still. Both times we had a full-on ceremony. Flower petals and everything. I remember the 8th grade one, and it was really funny. Then one of my old friends got mad at me for complaining about people asking me if I was gay because I got stopped 5 times in the hall. Another old friend showed everyone the video. We got married for tax benefits for social studies. Story 20. I used to have a private Instagram handle where I'd film my breakfast on any given morning as I poured hot sauce on it. But the value proposition over other Instagram photos was that I would make all sorts of orgasm noises as I shot a patio or what have you all over my over easy ends. I was filming myself giving my morning meal a spicy money shot with earnest sound effects. The account was private and only my friends' follow requests were permitted. Not that there was any wider demand to follow it at all. It was a hit in my social circle, bringing tears of laughter to some of their rides even. But after I started seriously dating my current girlfriend, I removed all followers and haven't posted or really spoken about it since. Sometimes my friends, when present in mixed company with my girlfriend, will drop a thinly veiled reference to it, but I've countered with a thinly veiled threat to reveal to them, so that they followed it themselves and enjoyed it thoroughly. It's an enjoyable cold war I'm waging against my buddies with the risk of mutually assured destruction. Story 21. I found the ring in the closet a month before he proposed. Each day I looked if it was still in its place. One day we had a fight, like we sometimes do. I looked in the closet again, and it was gone. I was scared he changed his mind because of our fight, but he didn't. The day after that, he proposed to me. The thing I didn't know, but he told me afterwards, that ring was there for about 6 years. He never moved it, and was so sure to have found the perfect hiding spot. It was his closet full of random stuff. I never went through it, but that day I was looking for something I knew was stored in there. He wanted to wait for the perfect moment, but in his eyes it never came. So years passed, and then he just chose to do it without any special occasion because the perfect moment didn't seem to exist. Maybe he just wasn't ready yet. I never told him because I wanted him to keep thinking that he surprised me. But I always find the thought funny that I never noticed it except for that 1 month before he asked me. Story 22. She's only my girlfriend, but I gaslight her to feel better about herself. since she was in a very abusive and manipulative relationship for 9 years before we got together. If we need to clean up her apartment, bathrooms, kitchen, car, etc., I usually wind up doing most of the work. But when she thanks me for all the work I did, I'll respond with something like, "What are you talking about? You did almost everything. I was just kinda there." The way she feels like she took care of herself and gains more confidence in her abilities. Whether it's wrong or not, it seems to be working. Story 23. I don't tell her all the messed up things that has happened to me in my life. How abusive my parents were. How every single goddamn day I have to deal with my depression. I have coping skills and don't need meds anymore. Luckily mine is manageable. And how it just makes me incredibly tired to have to deal with it. I don't want to burden her with it. She has also been through the ringer with her own parents. I pushed her and helped her to move away from all of that. Now she has her own business and is extremely successful. She earns at least 5x more than I used to as an educator. I stopped working because she wanted me to take care of the children and be a stay-at-home dad. It hasn't stopped my ducked up mind to make me feel worthless and useless because I'm not contributing financially to the household, even if my money would be nothing compared to hers. I don't want to burden her with these thoughts. She is actually successful and happy and thriving. I don't want her to feel guilty about it in some way. So, I'll learn to relax. I'm still tired and often down, but it's gotten better over the past 6 months. Sorry for the rambling. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more daily videos.